those of you who miss Thursday's lesson, I'm gonna go and do the exact same thing so that you can rewind, redo, improve, whatever, catch up. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is unfreeze all. Let me get rid of my bipeds. It's not needed, and I am going to create a plane in my why not the left view. This is where I'm just gonna put my image just because let's see here. So I'm gonna press M. I'm gonna get out another material on material surface, standard surface. Let's make that big. And then let's take off the specular, and I'm gonna drag out a base color general bitmap. Again, base color, drag, drop, general bitmap, and I am gonna go to where I stored the image. Where was it? In 3D objects? Yeah, of my kitchen. And then what I'm gonna do is going to, with it selected, yeah, with this selected, I am going to paste that onto my plane. Okay, so instead of having it on multiple screens, we can just use this to look at. And the idea here of what I want you to do is create your floor, your walls, your window from one plane object, put in the light, and then we're going to use standard boxes and stuff, cubes, in order to block out the kitchen. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to create standard primitives and plane. Again, that's create standard primitives and go down to plane. I'm going to draw my plane out. So I'm not going to put any length segments. I don't really care about the width. These things are going to be modified and changed. And then I'm going to convert this, that's right click, convert to editable poly. All right, so I'm going to use my edge. Let me use the shortcut F4. That will bring on my edge faces. Again, if you want to if you can't press F4, then right click the last word on the view panel, viewport, and go to edge faces. Okay, so what I'm going to do is S2 is the shortcut on the keyboard to select edges. Use Control to select my left and right. I think I need to make it a bit wider. Why not? Let's make it a bit wider. So I'm just going to scale it out a bit. And select 3. I'm going to leave this bit open. I'm going to go to Move. The shortcut is W. Or you can just right click, Move, Rotate, and Scale right here. And then I'm going to hold Shift and then pull up. Let's see, I'm just using my eye to measure what's going on here, maybe about that much. And I'm going to scale it back in a tiny bit. Say about there-ish. Okay, cool. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the 2 sides of the kitchen. Edge, and I'm gonna click on bridge. So I've created the roof. Yep. All right. We can't see through our model, and that's not good. Remember what I was saying about polygons only having one side? So let's fix that. Right click, object properties, back face call. We want to turn on, and now we can see directly through. Yep. What I'm gonna do, oops. Let me select everything but this. I'm just going to freeze what we have there already, so I can't press it. Now I'm going to use the edge, same tools that we've used. I'm going to select right down, marquee select from top to bottom, making sure I get all of these edges in. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to use the connect feature, and I want to add 2 connections. And I'm just going to widen it out. Widen out my connection to try and match kind of what this window is saying. So I'm just going to increase it, say a tiny bit larger than the table and chair that I have here, and press tick. Again, right across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We've selected marquee select from left to right or right to left. We're going to do the same thing. Go on to connect. This time we can bring it up a bit because you can see here that there's not much space at the top, and this needs to be just above the table. So we can increase it like this, and let me bring it down a tiny bit. Say like so. All right, cool. So we've got our block where our window is going to be. Before I cut it out, I want to create all of these grooves, all of these things going on here. This inset, extrude in, inset again, extrude in, and then we can extrude this side out and such and such. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the inset function from the inset settings. I'm going to scale down. Let's say about that much. I'm not really measuring. I don't care. This is all just a reference point. Then I'm going to go to the extrude. I'm going to manually extrude rather than using the numbers. Let's take a look at that picture again and see. This bit is quite deep. So let me just go in some more. Now I've already done the extrude. If I did it again, I would be creating another one, and I don't want to. I want to keep it nice and low poly. So we can just bring it down here. Say about that much. And let's see. It might be the picture, but this looks like it's coming in, it's scaling in a tiny bit. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna right click, scale, or E on the keyboard is a shortcut, and I'm just gonna bring it in a tiny bit. The window looks like it's doing some tricks or whatever. All right, and I've just done it on the Y axis. I've not done it on the Z axis, yeah, because I just want to bring it in left to right, not north and south. And then I'm gonna do inset again. Inset settings. I'm gonna keep it the exact same size. That's this bit here, and now we want to do another extrude. Extrude in. So I'm gonna click on the extrude and go in. I'm not going to go too far because the window frame is going to sit on this bit, which we're going to make separately. Then I'm going to press delete. All right. Next thing I want to do is select these corners, making sure I'm not dragging when I'm clicking down because you can mess stuff up. Then I'm going to extrude this a tiny bit. Maybe that's coming out too much. I can right click and move like so. And now we're going to create the window, and we're going to create the window by clicking all around, or I could just use the other functions go loop, but let's just keep it nice and simple. I'm going to use this scale now, and while holding Control and Shift, I am going to pull in like so. So the frame's going to be about that big. I'm going to call this frame. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the plus symbol. So I've deselected the house. Let's freeze that actually. So right click, freeze selected. So we're not messing around with it anymore. And then I'm going to use this to create the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a modifier to this. Yeah, so let me select the window, the frame, sorry. The one thing about this is because we've pulled this frame from a pre-existing model that has a pre-existing hierarchy, I'm going to change that. I'm going to do that by clicking the hierarchy. That's up here. If you hover over, you see it says hierarchy. Effect pivot and center to pivot, and then make sure I take it off again, and we can go back. So this hierarchy is now centered to the frame. And then what I'm going to do is click on here, the modifier list, go down to shell, press S for shell, and I am going to scale the inner amount, like so. and we've got a bit of a gap there. We can fix that later. I'm gonna do the outer amount like so. So bring that down to 0. The outer amount to 0. The inner amount, mine is gonna be at 3.44. Yours is gonna be different, obviously. And then what I'm gonna do is I wanna collapse this down so I'm working back on the editable poly again. I'm gonna right click and collapse to. Hold yes. I'm then going to select the vertex and then marquee select on the left side. Let's move it over just a tiny bit just to match it in. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Marquee select all of them and then bring it over a tad. Okay, so we've got our frame sitting within our frame. I need to now create some of these cuts. So I've got like 1, 2, 3, one across, and then this seems like a big one. Maybe they're double framed. Let's see. So what I'm gonna do is on the edge mode, marquee select down. Sorry. When I created this, collapsed it, it turned into a mesh. Let's right click this editable mesh because we want to work in poly. Right click and go to editable poly. So that's just changed it back again. Yeah. All right. So with the edge selected, I'm gonna marquee select down. I'm gonna go connect and then add 2 because I want to create a bar going all the way down, I believe. Let's bring this in. No measurements I am using, not one single one. So we're going to create 3 bars, one on either side. I'm going to go tick. I am not going to bother straightening these up. There's no need. I'm going to select the top and the bottom using polygon mode. That is 4. Number 4 on the keyboard, and then I'm just going to press delete. Using the border tool now, first time we're using it, we're going to marquee select both of them, and then I'm going to press bridge. Now we have one going across. I'm going to do the exact same thing going across my whole model. So I'm going to marquee select across, go to connect. We have 2 there. Hopefully they're the same size. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. We're going to go tick, and then 4 on the keyboard. Shortcut. I'm going to select these sides and just press delete. And then maybe it does need to be a tiny bit thicker, I believe. Okay. With the bottom edges selected, let me use the Alt and marquee select the top. I'm just going to bring the bottom ones down a bit just to give it a bit more thickness. Or you can do this in vertice mode, it doesn't matter. Alright, cool. So I'm gonna select the inner side here and this side and go bridge. Remember, if I'm going too fast, just pause the video, rewind and catch up. Gonna do the same for this bit, bridge. And now I wanna use the edge mode and do the same for both of these sides. So here, connect. This one is going to be super wonky. I don't think it matters one iota. We're going to just thicken it a tiny bit. Okay. Do the same for the opposite side. Connect. It's going to have the exact same numbers. And then I'm going to select these 2 and delete. Use the marquee select. Bridge. Marquee select bridge, and let's look, where are we now? And we need one more going across all of them. We're going to do the exact same thing. Edge, marquee select across, connect. Gonna make it a tiny bit thicker. Okay. Polygon mode, 4 on the keyboard. Select all of the insides that we want to get rid of. And this side, delete on the keyboard, marquee select, and I just want to select, oops, this side, bridge. Do the same thing here. The reason why we're not doing them all the way across all in one go is because you could be bridging one side to the other and not realizing what is being connected. So it's best to do these ones a bit individually. Okay, so we've got our window frame as looking like here. Yeah. Okay, this top bit needs to be a bit thicker, I think, because we've got too much space here. What I can do is right click, unfreeze. I'm gonna select now, sorry, the house. I want to select the vertex and let's go to our left view. And I'm just gonna marquee select this top row all along. And then, so you can see I've selected all of that. We've selected these, we don't want to do that. So let's go left again. I'm gonna be very careful this time, just to select the top bit. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just gonna bring it up somewhat. Okay, cool. All right, so the next thing I wanted you guys to do is throw some Arnold lights in. The way we're gonna do this um, is we're gonna set up our render. We're gonna put active shade on, so make sure you change from product shade to active shade. And then it's gonna be on Arnold. Let's go to common. Our render window doesn't need to be big, so if you just change the width to 512 and 288, so 512 for the width, 288, or if you right click one of these options, you can then change it here. It will change automatically as soon as you put 512. This will change to 288 and you press OK, and then select it, make sure it shows in here, and then you can press render, and this will render your active mode. So when I move the camera around, you can see it updating quite fast. Don't worry about the quality not being good. This is just to see what's happening. Yeah, we can cut this off now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create, first thing I want to do actually is I'm gonna press 8 on the keyboard and I'm gonna change the background from black to white and press OK. All right, so that will change the light coming in from the outside because it does use area lights, so environmental lights. The next thing I want to do is I am going to go to create, so that's the plus side here. I'm going to go to lights, that's the third one over, click lights, and then change. I already changed it, so font metric standard we want to change to Arnold light, and then you have this button here, so I'm going to click this button and then I'm going to click and drag a light, so you can see I've got like a dragger here, a point, right click to finish, always right click to finish, and then I'm just gonna bring this light up. Actually, let's change the background back to black, that's 8, so that you can see what I'm doing. So this is the light that I've just created, yeah, and I'm placing it in here. My background is my environment is super shiny, so let's make a change to that. I'm gonna press M on my keyboard. I'm going to go over to my standard material which I created earlier. I'm going to turn the specular all the way down, select the building, and then up here we've got a bunch. I'll teach you about these later. We want to assign material to selection. So I've assigned it, we can cut that off and you can see it's very matted now. Yeah. So this is the light that is coming in. You can see how it is working. It's creating shadow. Yeah, and we are going to modify this light now. So mine is already on 12, intensity 12, exposure 14. I don't really like them that high. I would usually make another one. Let's bring this in. We can turn, whoops, this, let me just turn this up to cover. I want this to be our main source of lights. We can put in multiple lights, yeah, and we can just duplicate the lights by holding shift and bringing them over, and you can see what that's doing. It's asking, do I want to copy? Yes, I do. And I will change the color slightly, so I can just click the color and change, just to give some bounce to everything. Let me do it here as well. Yep, just to give some color variation and bounce. Okay, I'm gonna go back, press 8 on the keyboard to get into environments and effects, and then change my background to white. And you can see what's happening now, yeah? All right, cool. All right, maybe I'll turn down one of these lights. It's a bit too bright, so let's go to 8 and 10. There is no rhyme or reason for my numbering. I'm just doing it because I feel like it. You do what works in it. Come on, select you. This under. Yeah. So let me just separate those. All right. So let it render, let it buffer up. Okay. So the next thing I'm gonna do, which we didn't get to do in the classroom, is I'm gonna start placing stuff around just using the box tool. I'm gonna use I won't call it a special command, but let's leave this here. I'm gonna use create standard box, and over on the right side I'm gonna leave like no segments. We can add them in later. We want to click on the object type auto grid, and what the auto grid will do is it will jump and create a box wherever it finds a flat surface. Yep. So if we look at our image here, we have a right next to the window we have a big work surface area, but it stops on the left side. It stops on the left side. We've got a freestanding table with a crappy microwave, oven, what looks like a dishwasher, and then a big work surface, a big surface area that contains a sink. And then we've got various stuff on the wall. So we're just gonna place those in now. All right, so I'm gonna assume it goes all the way across. So I'm gonna go from here to around here, and then bring that up. Maybe that is a bit too deep. Yes, like so. And I'm gonna right click and bring that back. So we've got our whatever that thing is, our cupboards sitting outside the window. The next thing I have is, let's look here, we're gonna do this bit here. What is this? Cooker. So let's make the cooker. We're gonna go like, whoops, my bad. Box, create box, make sure auto grid is on, and then we're gonna click it's like so. Maybe again, I've made it way too deep. Bring it in. Let's bring it backwards a bit. Maybe like this. Where's the image? Yeah, that's okay. And then I'm just gonna duplicate this. Say okay, because it's about the same, maybe a tiny bit higher. So we can bring the height up a tiny bit. And then we have our cupboard with our sink in it. Actually, this actually fits under the work surface of the sink. So let's rectify that. Yes, let's rectify that. All right, so we're gonna bring the height back down because it was a bit lower. I am gonna go back into the box, make sure auto grid is still there, and we are gonna pull from here. Let's make it around the same side, pull it up right here. I am going to convert to a poly. So right click, convert to editable poly. You don't have to keep this up if your computers are slowing down, but it seems to be okay here. I'm gonna right click and extrude like here, about that much. And then I'm gonna extrude out here. And that will create our little top for where our sink is gonna be. And then I'm just gonna use pull the vertice and pull it back. I don't know how far it goes in a picture. Let's just make some random assumptions that it does go back past the table somewhat. Yeah. All right. Cool. So what I should do now is pertaining to the image, we've got something like this. Get that render out. So we've got our, we need to make another little top here where the microwave is going to be. So let's do that now. And let's take another look at the picture. You can see that it says high. Maybe I need to put these up a bit more, but this is higher than the original surface, so I can bring this down. Yeah. All right. So let's actually bring this down. So let me put the height down a bit. And then I'm going to use this line for reference. I'm going to go back to create a box, and then I'm going to do something like this. So bring it out, not all the way, and it's going to go across. Something like so. That's what the image says, isn't it? Yeah. And then we want, oops, sorry. I think it looks like there's a pole there, like it's standing on something to hold it up. So let's go and use a cylinder because it's a completely different shape. And let's make a little cylinder and bring it up. We don't need any height segments on this one. And we can turn it down somewhat. We can increase the size later. 8 should be fine to get the rough shape in. How deep did it come out? It went back a bit actually. So let's bring this back in. So height the width back in here. So bring the width back in and then pull that back. Okay, so we've got the layout and we've got the layout using simple shapes of our ground materials. I'm gonna do the exact same for the little stuff going on to get it looking more familiar. So let's jump in. What we got? We have a spice cupboard, spice rack above. So actually, let's create the microwave. So create box microwave. So the microwave is gonna go about there, and then eventually we're just gonna turn these simple shapes into what we need. And then come here, spice rack out. So let's look. So the spice rack was very close to the wall. There's another shelf there, and it goes above the microwave. The microwave looks okay. Maybe we need a bit more space. The roof needs to be a bit higher, I believe. All right, so let's do that. Let's click the roof. Let's just do it like this. 1, 2, 3. Let's just bring the roof up a tiny bit. Maybe I made this too high. Doesn't matter. Let's shrink our box. Yeah, say about here. All right, cool. And then we want another rack. Oops, we've got a rack here. We've got an extraction fan. So let's do the extraction fan. So box. I think the extraction fan goes right at the top. If it doesn't, we can change it. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to make the rectangle shape here. I'm gonna be going on to converting it to editable poly. Whoops, turned it into a patch there. Poly. Whoops, did I break it? Oh, let's undo. Undo. Convert to editable poly. Let's extrude down. Let's take a look at the shape. So it comes out a tiny bit. Let's scale. And we're just going to use the edge. Sorry, edge. And we're going to pull out like so. Okay, and then we're going to extrude one more time. axle, and our extraction fan is done. Let's center it. Let's call this fan. Yeah, you guys should get familiar or used to calling things by their names, so you're aware of it. So let's change that to microwave. This is going to be our spice rack. Oops. Cooker, you get the drift. Dish, washer, and so forth and so on, and all of that stuff. All right, let's Control A. I've selected everything. Press M for materials. I'm going to use this material and just slap it on so everything stays white. Yep, and let's put in. Okay, what I'm going to eventually want to do is create cameras and stuff. So let's do that now. Yeah, I'm going to press Control. Yeah, I don't want to do it here. Let me line it up to the photo as best as can. It doesn't have to be perfect. About there, I believe. I'm going to press Control C. Basically, what I've done is by pressing Control and C, I've made a camera. If I press P and I come out, you can see that the camera is there. Hopefully, you guys can see it properly. Oh, there we go. My F4 is on, so you can see the camera is there and it's looking in that direction. I'm going to press Alt W. I'm going to change this to camera mode. Default shading, edge faces on. I'm going to change this to perspective, P for perspective, so I can see what I'm doing. Edge face. Oh, do you know what I did? I got rid of the image by accident on this one. So let's not Control A everything. Let's assign that back on. Assign material to selection. So we can see what's happening. And we can. This is our camera, physical camera. If I press while selecting it, Shift and F, it will make it the exact same frame size. And now, sorry, let's get rid of this renderer. Just click from here and click render again. So let me click this one. Viewport. Physical camera 1, and then lock, and then render. Okay, so that's gonna, so I can move around here and it not affect my render. So what I did was, again, I clicked on the render setup. I wanted the physical camera, and then I locked it. And that way it renders out my physical camera, and I can move in the perspective mode without making too much fuss. But when I move my camera, it will also move, so then I can try and match it up as close as possible. So I'm just gonna mess around with my field of view. I think field of view, let's get it a bit tight, and then let's pull the camera back a tiny bit. Okay, so the render is super dodgy here. You can see that it's got a lot of fuzz. No need to worry about that. There's loads of options that we can choose. Let's try and just jump in here. I'm going to change from active to production mode. 720p. Let's create a 720p one. So I'm just going to right click on this. Do 1280 by 720. Okay, automatically done it for me. And then I'm going to click on my camera and click render. So production mode is obviously going to give a better quality, but obviously it takes a lot longer and it's not real time. So as that's going, you can see we've got simple shapes and stuff going on. In my render setup, so let's stop this. Let's stop it for now. Let's press cancel. We have something over here called a denoiser. So I'm gonna go over where in the render setup menu from comments to denoiser. We also have attribute system for lighting, how we want light to bounce. We won't get into that right now. I'm just gonna tick apply on beauty. So let's click render again. Ooh, it made it super soft, and hopefully it doesn't mess it up that badly. Probably have to turn it down. Rendering is a technique, it is a job all unto itself. And as we go on in this course, we'll do a lot more exploration on rendering, lighting, texturing, seeing how they all combine and the different things you'll have to take into consideration when optimizing your images. Yeah, so you can see that we got rid of a bit of detail, but we got rid of all of the fuzz that was in our image. Yeah, all of the gray notes, the noise, by using the beauty denoiser. I think this is it's a very savage amount that can be modified. But for now, this is what I want you guys to do, is just block out the kitchen. And once you've got your kitchen blocked out, I want you to then go in and work on the individual stuff and bits and bobs. And then eventually we're going to get onto texturing, where you start to texture your stuff and you've got stuff to show. While you're doing all of this, as time goes by, I also want you all made Sketchfab accounts. I want you to go onto Sketchfab and upload your work so we can see the progress. Yeah. All right. So that's going to be the end of this quick tutorial. And what I'll do is I'll see you obviously in class. But I'm going to leave this running as to not cut it off, let it catch up and whatnot. Okay, bye bye.